Hello, and welcome to Best WP7 Games. Today we're taking a look at Fusion Sentient, which is a sort of strategy game with an amount of RPG elements to it. This is an interesting game because it also ties in with an Xbox Live Arcade title, Fusion Genesis, which you should also be able to see a review on the site of, and of course a video review of that too. So if you want to compare the two and see how they interact, have a read of the reviews. Anyway, I'm just going to go back to an early mission so I can show you the basics of the game. This is the last of the tutorial missions. Basically, every level is made up of 3 phases, and they're always exactly the same. So there's an awful lot of levels here, but they're all pretty much the same. It follows the order that first you've got to capture a base, then you've got to capture an artifact, and then you've got to capture 2 artifacts. That's it. Normally I'd be using my own leveled up Sentient, which is the game's terminology for these little robot things you can see here. However, as this is a tutorial mission, they're all just basic level 1 versions of Sentient. They're not much different, to be fair, from the ones I've got now. Most of them are the same basic models, just they've leveled up a lot higher, and they have newer weapons, and that's about it. I will try and show you them after this mission is over, just so you can see what I mean. However, this is the 3rd type of mission, the 3rd phase, which is the one where you've already captured a base. That's that little light you can see me dragging around, and yes, you can move the base around, which is nice, because you need to defend it on these missions. And you've got to go and collect 2 artifacts and bring them back to the base. That or kill all the enemies. Either one is a victory condition. I notice there's basically there's 3 types of robot. You see that big heavy looking one that I've placed on the base is a tank. Basically he's tough and slow, that's it. So he's good for defending the base, he'll last a long time. And the 2 little hovering ones are healers, who do exactly what it sounds like they should do. You can check. I'm just setting him to defensive, so he won't charge off his base, and I've set him to lockdown mode, which means he doesn't move at all, but he becomes even harder to kill. So yes, the 2 hovering ones, as I said, are healers. I'm setting them to follow. One is setting to follow the tank, which is kind of pointless since he's going to be staying still anyway. The other one's set to follow one of the 2 other types, the sort of light-looking robots. These are DPS types, or damage per second types. The game uses massively multiplayer online RPG terminology, or well, standard RPG terminology actually, but become popular thanks to MMOs. And so yes, they just kill things fast. They're not as tough as the tank, but they do more damage than it. So you see, they finished off those enemies quite quickly between the 2 of them. As you can see, because of the orders I've given, he's followed by the healer and the other high damage output Sentient. In fact, the other Sentient is set to follow aggressive, which means that it will not just follow this Sentient, it will actively go out of its way to attack any enemies it sees. Which is one of the nice features of the game. You can set the attitude of your characters, of your Sentients rather. Also notice that you can pop back and forth between units. The reason I popped back there was because my tank was flashing, its icon at the bottom there was flashing, meaning it was under attack. Of course, it saw off the enemy quite comfortably, helped by the healer. And if you saw there, I also just found one of the artifacts I'm after, so now I'm just ordering my little squad back to base so they can plant it. Oh, and here's an enemy tank. As you can see, the healer can't heal itself, and it's taking a lot of area effect damage here, which is unfortunate. Hopefully it will survive. Yep, just. So my squad's almost here, so I have to move my tank out of the way, because you only score your artifact once you've actually walked onto the base with it. There we go. And move my healers next to each other so they can heal one another. As they're only level 1 healers, they don't have much health to start with. In fact, no one in my squad does, so the healing is quite quick. Counterintuitively, as the game goes on, your healers become less effective, at least at first, because they just can't heal fast enough compared to the amount of health you have and the speed at which you take damage. This changes as you pick up better healing weapons, as it refers to them as, but it will take a while. So initially, the healers seem to get worse as the game goes on. Now, as you can see, there's one slight problem with this game, and you might think it's because it's a tutorial level, but it really isn't. It's that it's very, very basic in terms of actual gameplay. The controls are well thought out, as you can see, and the graphics, it's quite a plain looking game, but and it does the job, and it's nice to see 3D graphics on the Windows Phone. But there's no strategy involved at all. You just wander around like this, and basically, as long as your character's at a high enough level, you'll succeed. If your character's at too low a level, there's not much you can do about that. You'll just lose. All tactics revolve purely around grinding, and because the levels are all identical, it gets quite boring quite quickly. Still, let's have a look at the leveling system. Now that we've finished the level, I can look at what my characters currently look like. So you can see they're still the same robots, but they've got different weapons. I don't know if you paid any attention, but they look a bit different. As you can see, you can browse through the various weapons you picked up, which highlights another flaw. Or rather, you can't tell here perhaps, but as you finish levels, you pick up new weapons at random, which is fine. What it doesn't tell you is which type of robot can use it, or indeed which hardpoint can, as each hardpoint can only equip a certain type of weapon, and it doesn't actually ever tell you what that type is, which makes the leveling process and the equipping of new items actually quite frustrating. Basically, this isn't a great RPG, and it's really not a very good strategy game. It's just not really worth the money. Still, it is available on the marketplace now,